Hello, hello everyone. We are live. Look at that sun. Look at that activity we got on the sun today. So, if you've been following some of my previous... Hold on, who's texting me? Steve. That's fine. So if you've been following any of my previous live streams, you know that we've been having some latency issues, and I think I got quite a few of that stuff. Quite a few of those worked out. The latency issues, that is. So let's go, let's see if I can't find my live stream here. And then we'll get some music playing. No. There we go. Deep Sky Tunes is playing. So, alright. Having a look at the sun here. In fact, I gotta move some windows around. There we go. I need to eventually get a mouse pad or something for my mouse. But we're looking at the sun. I mean, we got some really cool activity going on. We got a lot of prominences hanging out, filaments hanging out, sunspots hanging out, just in this view alone. Don't y'all think? It's looking pretty good. Of course, Maverick wants to get up in my lap, so there's going to be a moment here while you hear that. Come here, Maverick. Come here, buddy. Okay. We're gonna... Oops. Let's try and zoom out just a little bit more. What's going on, Lambrianos? So we're going to do a 100% default zoom and see what the whole sun looks like. And there we go. That's the whole sun. Isn't that amazing looking? We have a really good sky today. In fact, I want a picture of that. I'm going to turn the exposure up just a bit because... so we have a bit more data that you guys can now see, and the sun takes up quite a bit of space in the screen. I like this layout more. I've hated Firecapture for years. They've reworked it. I like it better. But if you look over here, this is the histogram. I want to try and get this peak of the histogram closer to the right side. So I take my exposure here. I'm just going to click it once, and then on my keyboard, I press the up arrow, or is it the right arrow? It's the right arrow. And so this is going to increase the brightness of the sun just a little bit at a time. Now what I'm doing here is I'm slowly increasing the amount of time that I allow light to fall on the sensor of the telescope. And I'm watching that histogram, this little blue data with the black background, and I'm waiting for that peak to get a lot closer to the right side of the box, because that's going to tell me how close I am to oversaturating the sensor. It's going to show me that I'm getting more data from the faint regions without oversampling the bright regions of the sun. Does that make sense? Because we don't want the bright parts of the sun to be too blown out. But we also don't want to lose the faint regions. There are some prominences hanging out on the edge of the sun. And I'm going to be able to get those in a stacked image, which I'm going to start recording now. Now, how do I do that? Is it this? So this is no limit, but I don't want no limit. I want to do, let's say 1,000 frames. No. 2,000 frames. And then we're going to click this button, and that begins recording the sun. And this will get us 2,000 frames recorded from the sun, just like this. Now I'm a little early. Like I normally do this about 11 o'clock in the morning Central Time if I am able to go live during the day. And today's a little different. I've got the opportunity to go live a little earlier, which is what I'm doing. So we're here. Excuse me. Had to take a screenshot of that. Looking pretty good. All right. So I think my capture's finished. We're going to now turn the exposure way up because I want to see some of these prominences on the edge of the sun. I want to see how those are looking. Of course, to see those, we kind of got to make the sun overexposed. They'll start to come to life here soon. We're going to dive in. So we're going to go from 100% zoom, we'll say 250. There we have it. I wish I had a tool. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's how I move around the sun. Okay. So we got a really cool looking solar prominence happening here. It's looking pretty nice. What do you guys think? I think this is looking great. Maybe I'll just grab the sliders and move it around that way. So switching to Firecapture from Sharpcap has definitely resolved a lot of the latency problems that I was having. There's some cool stuff happening on the bottom of the sun. I was doing some testing over the weekend and last week, and I found that for the most part, the computer itself is not experiencing latency. It's the Sharpcap program. The Sharpcap program takes a lot of resources. And that was actually slowing everything down. Where this other program that I'm using, Firecapture, I'm presuming it's a lot more lightweight with how it handles everything that it's doing. Processing the data, rendering the image, memory management, CPU utilization, all that stuff. It just seems to be a little bit more efficient because the sun is a lot more lively. Like we aren't looking at one updated image every 3 seconds. The interface is a lot more responsive. The only thing that I haven't figured out yet, and I will figure it out eventually. I'm still pretty new to this program. Is like I'm maxed out as to how bright I can make the sun. So if there's any other additional filaments happening or prominences happening on the edge of the sun, I can't see them. Because I haven't figured out how to go beyond 5 milliseconds for the exposure. I could try increasing the gain. Does that help any? Oh, I guess it does. Unity gain is 179. Whoops. All right, so with that, so now we can definitely see the sun a bit better as far as those prominences leaping up off the edge of the sun. See, now the southern edge looks a lot more active, a lot cooler down there. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, so Firecap and SharpCap, as far as I can tell, they don't capture the data any differently. Essentially, they're both reading the same data off of the sensor. So the detail I'm getting is not a Firecap feature versus SharpCap feature. That's a camera feature and telescope feature. But the fact that the performance of everything, John, it's if you remember, if you were here like a week or two ago, I was struggling to like zoom around the sun and look at stuff. It just was not playing well because the latency with SharpCap was so terrible over the Wi-Fi. We dropped the exposure down to about 2. It's still a little blown out, but that's because the gain's set up pretty high. If I drop the gain down to 0, the sun will go back to looking like normal. There we go. So that's some sunspot activity happening right there. Because the prominences on the edge of the sun, as you probably figured out, are fairly dim compared to the sun, I have to really crank up the brightness to make them out. If I drop the brightness back down to a normal amount, we can see the surface features of the sun, like this really cool sunspot region here. And there's a lot of filaments dancing around the surface of the sun over here, and a lot of really cool surface features that are now visible. This wispiness on the surface of the sun, I just love that. I love that I can get that with this Lunt telescope. Hey, Blue-Eyed Devil, welcome on in. Yeah, now, Lambrios, I did not see your comment about the strange stuff or unexplained stuff. There are things that I can't always explain that happen when I'm looking at the sun. I do see things zip across the surface of the sun from time to time. 9 times out of 10, I'm fairly certain it's a satellite. There are some other times where it might be a bug, because like, I'm in Texas, and this time of year, there's a lot of grasshoppers and other little flying insects just buzzing around my backyard. And it's going to happen. One of them is going to fly right in front of the telescope lens. Looking at the sun, we're going to see that shadow from the bug as it flies across. Sometimes, and I have caught this, I've got a picture of it. Let's see if I can find it later. I'll show you guys. We got a picture of a bird that flew in front of the sun. And so, like, that one is easy to explain because we all know what a bird looks like. Here we go. Sorry about the screen kind of blacking out. I'm working on trying to get this image to show the bird in front of the sun. Now, this is a composite shot, but I mean, it's what I did is I took a picture of the bird from the video, and here. So I cropped I took the bird from the raw video, and I basically deleted the sun from around it. Then I took the same sun from that day, but processed, and I put the bird back in the same position. And so this is what that looked like when I got a bird flying in front of the sun. So yes, you can see some weird stuff. This isn't that weird. It's a bird. We all know what birds look like, right? But once in a while, you'll get something like a little blip that flies across the sun, and you can't always tell based on the shape of the blip what it was. Was it like a satellite, or was it a bug? Could it have been a bird, but like its wings were folded in? A balloon. I have seen balloons across the moon at night, and you can tell that those are balloons because there's usually like 3 little orbs, and they kind of like rotate around each other. Thank you, Lambrianos. What is it? Lambrianos. So, yeah, that's some cool stuff that you can sometimes get while looking at the sun. I mean, we're all zoomed in right now. There could be a bird hovering over another aspect of the sun right now that we can't see. But this area of the sun's pretty cool to look at, I think. Trying to zoom around or scroll around and see what else we can find. Maybe other sunspots that we haven't had a chance to look at. Ooh, there's one up here towards the top. And I'm gonna have to nudge the telescope. Let's try right nudge once. Oh, that's gonna be too much. Is my telescope software about to crash? No, we are not restarting the computer in the middle of a live stream. Kiss my butt. We're not doing it. All right. Where's the sun? We lost the sun. Sort of. Kind of. Not really, but I moved it a little too much. My stupid computer's like, oh, we need to do a reboot, but we're not going to do it. The pronunciation of your name is only difficult to Americans who can't read. Karina, what's going on? Welcome in. We're looking at the sun and trying to fight system updates and my computer all of a sudden wanting to restart, which is just stupid. There's no need to restart. Trying to move the sun. Okay. So the mount tracking software is hung up. That's fine. We can fix that. We just relaunch it. John, you're right. The sun is just alive with this so much detail that when you stare at the sun through a safe telescope, you can see things that you didn't think were there. Because, we're used to the sun just being this big yellow ball with sunglasses and a smiley face, right? But through a telescope, you can see past all of that stuff. And it does look a lot more detailed. And there's a lot of life to the surface of the sun. It's really cool. I love looking at the sun. It's one of my favorite things to observe. Because every day, it's slightly different. It is a living, organic, ever-changing, always evolving thing to look at. The moon is neat because the moon phases change, but month to month, the surface of the moon kind of looks the same. Okay, so this program should be loaded, or nope, it's still loading. Yes, everyone, my equipment is kind of slow. It's an upgrade from what I was using earlier this year. And again, I'd like to thank all of you who are watching right now for sticking with me and hanging around. I try to do these live streams as frequently as I can. So I don't have a schedule of like when I can go live, because I don't have a schedule like when the clouds are gonna cooperate. All right, we'll get the telescope connected to the software. Tracking is off. That's not good. I bet you the sun has moved quite a bit. No, it did. But we're tracking it again. Okay. So now we're going to move the telescope. Let's do right 10 arc minutes and just see where it goes. That's the wrong direction. Which is fine. Okay, so we're going to go left and then left again. Getting closer. We're going to switch from 10 arc minutes of movement to 5. Sorry about all of this, but my computer decided it wanted to reboot, and it locked up the tracking software. So the tracking software stopped following the sun. So I had to restart the tracking software without rebooting the computer, because why would I do that in the middle of a live stream? Getting better. Okay. Another couple of left moves. Maybe we'll do 2 more. 1, 2. Okay. And now change from 5 arc minutes. No, I did not want that program. I want this program. One, 2, 3. Might be the wrong direction. So we're going to go back to 5, and I'm going to do down 1. This is a lot easier if I'm sitting outside and I use the joystick to move the telescope, but the problem is I need to be logged in to see what's going on when I do that. How are we doing? There we go. We're centered. I knew I could get it. All right, we got the sun back. After my computer wanting to restart in the middle of a live stream, it's like, hey, we don't do... I need to find out how on Windows 11 to disable all Windows updates, because once the software is working, I don't need it to change. You may have seen it, but right up here there was a little blip of something passed in front of the sun. Again, that could have been a bug or a small little satellite moving through the field of view. It does happen. The sun takes up about 1 square half degree. So 4 suns tiled together could occupy 1 square degree of the sky. And that's not a whole lot of sky for it to take up, but it's not insignificant, and things do move through the sky constantly, things that are in orbit. There's like 40,000 satellites in orbit. It's just a matter of time before one of them moves in front of the sun. It is possible to see the space station pass in front of the sun. I don't think I've got a picture of that on my computer, but I've captured a few of them. I've got YouTube videos you guys can go back and watch of when I captured some International Space Station transits across the surface of the sun. And those are always fun to try to do. They really are. I like trying to catch those. They're a bit of an adventure. I usually have to drive off, go someplace outside of town to see them. So for those of you who are just now joining in, obviously this is the sun. We're looking at the sun live today through my solar telescope in my backyard. We've got quite a bit of sunspot activity. The black streaks that are going across the surface of the sun, those are called filaments. And these filaments are essentially the same thing you see sticking up over the edge of the sun. In some photographs, those are called prominences. So a prominence is when you see it face on, and filament is when you see it from top down. If I turn the exposure way up, all the way up to the maximum amount I can go, and then I adjust the sensitivity of the camera, we can see the prominences on the edge of the sun. And we can see that there's a lot of really cool activity, just stuff floating up above the surface of the sun. It looks like we might have a loop happening up here. Let me see if I can adjust. There. So now you guys can see everything kind of appropriate. And you can see that it looks like there might be a loop. So I'm going to see if I can't push that sensitivity and get more of that loop to pop up. And see if we can't complete that loop over the surface of the sun. That's a little too much. Too much. That's enough slices. We have that is so cool. I hope the photo I took earlier, that this giant loop is part of it. That is so freaking sick. I gotta take another picture of that. That giant loop is so cool. We're going to zoom in on that. What do you guys think? Take it into 200% zoom. So we got, what, 5, 6 people in here watching right now? That's a little bit above average. Usually it's like 2 or 3. And it's usually Lambrianos, Blue-Eyed Devil, and then my friend Punky. Punky's not in today. I don't know what she's doing today, but she's not here. That's fine. But this is so cool. I love this fire loop. Okay, so that's unity gain. And you can still barely make out these loops on the surface of the sun. Or, well, they're loops above the surface of the sun. But you see how that loop, like, it traverses a distance across the sun. If you were to imagine looking that from the top down, it's going to look an awful lot like this. It's going to look like these. Oh, that's a little too much. But it would look like these dark structures here. How many Earths can fit inside of the loop? Since I don't exactly have a good ruler, but if I were to estimate, we know that the Earth is 100 and... I'm sorry. The Sun is 109 Earths wide at its equator. So we can estimate... Let's turn that exposure back up. How wide do we think that is compared to the Sun at its equator? I would say that that's probably... you could fit maybe 10 of this span across the equator of the Sun, maybe 12. And so we could just use easy math and say instead of 110 Earths, let's just call it 100 Earths. And if we could fit 15 of these, then what is 1/15 of 100? I think it's 8. About 8. $100 divided by 15. I'm using my phone calculator. It's 6. 6.6. So we're going to round that up to 7. And so I would imagine that if my estimate, without using a ruler and counting pixels, if 15 of this loop can fit across the equator of the Sun, and we're going to just approximate 100 Earths can also fit across the equator of the Sun, then this is approximately 6 Earths across, or 7 Earths across at that loop. Could be as many as 10, could be as few as 4. Because we're just doing visual estimation here. John, that's actually pretty cool. So, like, I'm technically on my lunch break. And so I've got my work computer right next to me because I have full-time responsibilities with my job. So sometimes I have to, like, look over my shoulder and just make sure that nothing broke. And as long as nothing broke, then I'm good. I can keep this up. Or as long as my boss doesn't text or call or anything like that. So, but yeah, I would say, going back to the question of how big that loop is, I would say it's between 6 and 10 Earths across. Hi, Maverick. Did you wake up from your nap? Okay, I'm gonna put you on the floor, buddy. There you go. All right, we're going to tone this down again, so we can look at some more of those sunspots. And that's Charlie Golden, Planet Observatory on, oh god. So, Charlie Golden, Planet Observatory. I'm going to tag him in here so you guys can check him out. I don't know if that actually works, but anyway, he's a good friend of mine. He's having some house problems, and he's texted me about that, which I think is kind of funny, but at the same time scary. We're supposed to go to a star party together in October, the El Dorado Star Party. This is just looking killer. I'm going to wait for the sun. So the sun is slowly drifting up in this image. I'm going to wait for it to drift a little bit further up, and I'm going to take another set of exposures, but I'm going to try and crank this up a bit more. I'm going to try and push the limit a little closer to oversaturating. I think we're there. Because I want to see if I can't get that loop to show up. It's going to be tough, but I want to get another picture of the sun with that loop showing up. Oh, you know what? Deep Sky Dude released a new track not that long ago. We're going to listen to it. It's called Neon Skies. We're going to debut his newest track, his newest single, right now. For all 6 of you. The 6 of you that are in here hanging out with me, you're going to listen to this audio masterpiece. So I'm curious to know, for those of you who were here watching with me, how did you find it? How did you know I was live streaming? Did you get a notification to your phone? I think, John, that's how you found it. Lambrianos, I know that's how you found it. But the rest of you, like, were you just browsing YouTube and you saw this? Were you searching for something? I'm kind of curious to know how you guys are showing up, because I want to reach more people like you. I want more people to be able to see this, listen to the good tunes, look at the sun. This is so fascinating to watch the sun evolve day to day like this. Lambrianos, I love watching the sun too. It's always so cool. Like it always changes, doesn't it? That's what's so fascinating about it. Is the sun is just this constantly evolving thing. Even from hour to hour, it's going to look different. Eventually, I'm going to figure out how I can just set this up. I need it to track without the sun drifting. That's the first obstacle I need to overcome. And I know what to do that. I just need to do it. And that's, I gotta refine my polar alignment. But once the polar alignment's been refined, what I can do is just set this thing up to track the sun very precisely. Gary says you were browsing YouTube. That's how you found me. That's pretty cool. All right. But I want to have a way, and I think I can do it in Firecapture, where it records like 500 real quick succession photos. Karina, you're right. I do remember you now from the last time that we did that moon live. I do remember you. I don't remember that you were in the the Mars and the Green Comet live stream I did back in February, but I do recognize you now from the Red Moon solar eclipse or lunar eclipse from like almost a year and a half ago, I think it was. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. So where was it going? Oh, I want to have a way, and I know I can do it in here. I just need to learn that like every minute it records a video of 500 images of the sun and then saves it, but it loops every minute for like, I don't know, 2 hours. And then I want to process all of those and make a movie of the surface of the sun with this type of clarity and detail. I think that would be really cool. It's going to take a while to do all of that processing, I think. The good thing is I've got a pretty fast PC, and I'm really hoping that that my laptop is up to the task if I needed to do it on my laptop. I've got a MacBook Pro, but it's the first generation of the M1 chips. It looks like it's going to be almost as fast as my PC in terms of like actual stacking of data for deep sky stuff, but I have no idea how it's going to do in terms of like planetary or solar or lunar stacking. I'm gonna have to get some different software because the current software I have just doesn't work on Mac. And I don't want to put Windows on my MacBook because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having the Mac OS, right? So I think the sun is in a position on the sensor now where I can record the video, but before I do, I'm going to double check the focus. So I'm going to zoom into like 400%, and I'm going to go to a sunspot region on the sun, and we're going to see the detail around the sunspot. Okay, and then this looks like it's too bright, so we're going to turn this down a little bit. And then we'll zoom this down so we can center that sunspot up a bit more. I don't know. I mean, this looks like it's fairly well focused. What do you guys think? I mean, it shimmers because the air, above Texas is just constantly boiling. But it is probably about as focused as we can hope. What are my settings? What's one arrow going to do? $25. Let's change that to 10. Okay. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's when it's not boiling, it is sharp. So we're just gonna say 2,000 frames just right now, just as is. And then how's our sky steadiness looking? I'm gonna go to Astrospheric and check that out. It's about this is about as good as it's going to get all day. So it's not bad, and when it's steady, it is sharp. So all I got to do is hope that I can capture enough images of it being sharp. And when I go to stack it, I'm going to have something freaking amazing. And it looks like we're averaging about 40-something frames per second, which is actually reasonably fast. Okay, then let's go ahead and just do another 100% zoom. Take a look at the whole sun again. And then, oh, that looks so cool. So it looks like we might be getting some glitches with the camera. I don't know if those are going to be part of the data, but it might be because the camera is getting hot. I mean, it's almost 50 degrees Celsius, which is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. That is pretty hot. So I can't imagine that the camera's too happy about this. Yeah, I can imagine it's going to glitch. But let's have a look at our loop. Let's take a look at the loop-de-loop. Okay, it's still tracking. Nothing. I heard a sound come out of my computer, which usually means something isn't playing nice. Wow. Looks like there's a bit more activity going on. Why don't we tone this down? And then, just for funsies, we're going to do 2,000 frames like this. Let's see what we can do with the sun like that. Another thing that you guys who are watching might want to kind of keep an eye out for are going to be early morning live streams that I might be doing in the next couple of weeks. You may have heard that there's a new comet that's supposed to be naked eye bright in a week or two. And once I get my telescope polar aligned, which again is something that I really ought to just do tonight and get that done and out of the way, there will be no lunchtime live stream tomorrow. Tomorrow I have to drive into my corporate office and work there. But there could be evening live streams that I can start doing once the telescope is aligned. But I can also start doing super early morning live streams. And those super early morning live streams will be of the comet. I'm going to try and nudge the sun a little more to the right because it's about to run out the top left corner. There we are. And then I'll do another 2,000 of the sun in this position. And what I might have to do is take that super detailed surface photo and kind of see if I can't blend it with this so I can get some of those really neat prominences arcing up over the surface of the sun like this. While that's recording, I gotta step away for just a second to grab a drink. All right. Yay! This just looks so cool. There's so much activity on the sun today. Oh, my lunch break's almost over. I've got about 8 minutes remaining, and I still need to find some food. I'll find a time to eat at some point. I might sneak away for a few minutes and just make a sandwich. To our crazy detailed surface settings. So if you're curious at all, the gain I'm using is gain 0. The exposure is 2.65 milliseconds. The gamma, I don't know where 41 came from. That might just be a default value in the image sensor. And then the telescope I'm using is a Lunt 100 millimeter apochromatic telescope. It's got just the single Etalon for hydrogen alpha filtration. I'm not doing the double stack today. It's just a single stack. I do have a double stack. It's hard to get it to focus just right with both. And Lambrianos, if you were there was another something just drifted across the sun from top to bottom, it looked like. And then the camera's just a run-of-the-mill ZWO ASI 174 monochrome camera. I've had this camera, 7 or so years. Like it's been my workhorse for a while, and it does a really good job. I am looking to upgrade it though. In 7 years, camera technology has advanced a little bit, and so I'm thinking, if I'm fortunate enough to get my YouTube channel remonetized, I need a lot more. I need to start making videos again, like actual searchable videos, not just doing the live stream stuff, which I love doing the live stream, but I need more videos too. If YouTube will monetize me and I can get some affiliate links going on to some products and earn some money, I might be able to turn that into a camera purchase. Then I might get one of the Player One cameras, and that will offer me, in theory, if the math that I did works out, a better sun, and I'll be able to actually make better prints of the sun with it. Okay, I'm gonna record another image of the sun. But I would like to have I want to have prints of the sun that are just gigantic. You know, I'm talking like poster-sized prints of the sun that don't pixelate when you blow them up that big. Same thing with the moon. And so I think I'm going to need a slightly different camera that offers a different pixel array. Because the ZWO, it's just HD quality, if that. It's a 1936 by 1216, which I can resample to 1920 by 1080, which is HD resolution. So I think once this capture is done, I'm going to be done capturing for the afternoon. I might, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do a solar live this afternoon. But I might try to go live later tonight if I can. But not with the solar telescope, with like a deep sky telescope and maybe some narrowband filters. Can't promise anything because I have to do polar alignment for that. Also, I have to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning for work, which means it's going to be an early night for me going to bed. But make sure your notifications are turned on in the event that I do go live either tonight or tomorrow, or maybe over the weekend I get up super early and we do some comet spotting. In that case, you're going to want your notifications if you're up already to know when I go live. So with that, I bid you all a good one. I will catch you all on the flip side when we do the next live stream. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.